So hello guys, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create a Hello World application in Hibernate. So I will be showing you how it has been it has been done using the Hibernate XML mapping metadata and also using annotations. So for this you need Eclipse. Here I have Eclipse Luna. You can download Eclipse for your operating system, and I also have MySQL Workbench where I will be creating a schema. I have already created a schema, so let's begin there. Right, so I'm also going to cheat a little bit because I have the code in place, but I will walk you through the steps one by one. Right, so first is now we have a table. So we are going to so you have this part, right? So you have a messages table that has an identity field, message ID of type begin, which is the primary key, and as you see it has auto increment as the strategy. Then you have a message text. It's any random text. We'll be printing out hello world, storing hello world rather, and you have a message next message ID. So you also have a next message ID, and which is the like a chain, right? So you have foreign key next message ID that references messages of message ID. So this is a foreign key. So which is a foreign key to point into the ID of another message, right? So as I explained earlier, now you have certain parity mismatches. So you see that message ID has to be represented in object-oriented programming, and you need to represent the foreign key also in object-oriented programming. So now I'm going to go ahead and run this query. So just to make sure that I have created a user. And it will run this. So if I run, so so that's because I have to use a table. So which actually means that the table doesn't exist, right? So unknown table. So let me take this thing away, run this. Now create a Maven project. So JP, you may be wondering why I had the drop, because I had the table in the schema. So maybe I deleted it just before doing this recording. JPWH, and let's say this is my Hibernate project, and I will create a sub project, because if you create a sub mod Maven module. So this can be the parent form, and I use this. So this is a form XML I want. So it's a very simple form XML. It has certain dependencies. So you have org, hibernate, hibernate core, hibernate annotations, slf4j. Copy this. Paste it here. And I'm going to create a module, so I don't want a module to be there when I create another module. So let's go into here, new Maven module, call this hello world, right? This, and let's finish. Certain code cleanup that I like to do are, since this is a POM type of project, right? So you don't need to have this, doesn't need to have a source code because it's a parent POM. So delete this. Then hello world src9. So here create another folder. Oops. Ooh. Create another folder, name it resources. You see why we need that? I need a folder resources. So inside Java, so I'm going to delete this, and also in test. If I don't do that, it's going to give me compilation errors for some reason. So let me delete this. So now I need a basic log4j for hibernate. Let me grab a basic log4j properties for hibernate. So let's direct the logs to sysout. Go to resources, create a file. Log4j for properties. Now I'm going to create a package called hello, and I'm going to create a new class. Name it message. So as I said earlier, I'm going to start with the old XML based approach, and I'll show you the annotated approach later on. So I'm not going to put any annotations. So annotation is the way to specify metadata, saying that which points as to what it maps a specific class to a table and properties to columns, and it also indicates uh, which column is a primary key, what is the strategy to create identifiers and associations, etc. So here you see, so I created a module, right? So since I created a module, I go and go here. Here I have the module present. So in my message table, I'm going to create private long id, private string text, private string next message, and you need to create an empty identity. You have to create a default no arg constructor, so Hibernate can use its reflection message string text. This dot text is equal to text. Now let's create setters and getters. Generate getters and setters. Next, we're going to create the mapping metadata. So that will go inside the resources. Let's create an XML file. Call it so we'll call this message.hvm.xml. So this I'm going to copy from here. So it's a very simple HTML XML. So it contains a class which is mapped to hello.message, the table. Then you have the ID field that is mapped to a column, and the generator is increment. And you have the text field mapped to message text column, and then you have the foreign key is mapped using many to one. As you see, the foreign key, right? The foreign key that is next message is mapped using using the many to one, and it has cascade is equal to all, which means anytime you tell it or change the foreign key association, then when you delete the primary, whenever changes happen on the parent table, then that is cascaded onto this child table. So we have this. So copy this. Okay. Now next what we are going to do is we're going to create another folder. We call it persistence. And we're going to create a file. Hibernated. This class we are going to going to get the session factory. So session factory holds the data that is so which is required for you to do CRUD operations, right? So it holds all the sessions, it creates sessions. So we're going to see how to do that. So private session factory. Have private static. So you see it in the private static session factory. So we're going to use a simple singleton implementation. So session factory, inside a static block, we're trying to create the session factory. So we'll do it in a very simple manner, right? So we'll see how you can actually improve it later on. Configuration dot configure, or we'll create a configuration object. Configuration is equal to configuration dot configure. So configuration come from hibernate, of course, and session factory will be configuration dot the session factory, which is deprecated, and we'll see how because we're looking at the older way of mapping metadata. We'll stick to this one. Session factory, then you have public get session factory, public session factory, get session factory, return session factory. Then we'll create a shutdown method, right? Public void shutdown. Just to close the session factory. Right? So get the session factory and just simply close it. Now let's create a for this you need a hibernate cfg.xml. This will hold the hibernate mapping. So here you configure the dialect, the driver class, which is this, and I'm supposed to use this database, and that's why I was getting error related to no table present, right? So do this because I already have that table created. So it means I can reuse the same. So you have a dialect, which is MySQL, driver class, URL, username, and password, right? So any Hibernate configuration file will look for the URL, the driver class, the URL, the username, and the password. And I'm also going to set show SQL to true. And here this will be the source, right? So since we are using a XML format, CFG, this I'm going to change it to resource is equal to message.html.xml. Now let's go into the hello and write a hello world class. That's why we're here, right? So hello world. So let's say first unit of work, session is equal to hibernate util dot could be that for static get session factory. So here I also have one more improvement, to have a try catch block. Try this, so this will get an errors. We can identify what is the root of that issue. So session, so begin a transaction tx is equal to session dot begin transaction. Right. So let's create a message. New message. Hello world. Session dot save of the message. Then say transaction dot commit session dot close. Did this. We're just going to run it and see how we write another session. So session is equal to hibernate within get session factory dot session transaction new transaction is equal to new session dot. So I'm going to create a query to fetch the data. Create query from message m ordered by m.text c. Oh, I got myself one step ahead. This is new session dot begin transaction. Here you'll have new session dot create query of this. To have this create query list of messages message is equal to Douglas. Inside it will print it out. So hello world. So to a second and just print the current message. Right? Just print the current message. So let's run this. Let's open this. Okay, now I need to get an appender. So I'm going to use one of the files. I'm not going to waste time to look for the correct appender, so this must fix it. Okay, so let's just hold that. Okay, now you have an association from the table messages refers to an unmapped class string. Okay, so which means we have specified the next message to be string, which is incorrect. So this should be message, this should be message as well. Now let's run it again. That's it. So there are no errors. So you can see that the queries have been printed. So now you have here you see a select, that's for the second session, and you should also see an insert. So have an insert. Now you don't have to verify from the log. You can just go ahead here. Look at select star from messages. One row affected. So you can see the hello world is printed here. right? So that's the whole point of this video. Now we're going to go one step further, and we're going to replace annotations in place of the message hbm.xml. So first go into the message folder. So first you will need a @id annotation that will indicate that this is the primary key, and @generated value strategy is equal to generated type generated generation type dot identity. Then let's define a column. Name is equal to message underscore id. So let's copy this, paste it here, and define this as message underscore text. Then this will be an @many to 1. Right? So we have @many to 1 and the cascade type, right? So we also have the cascade type to all. We saw this cascade type here, so it has cascade all. So cascade type, when you define many to 1, you define the cascade type, right? So when the parent decides on if the parent uh, record is deleted, then the child records will also be affected. So this is message. Then we have a joint column. As you see, joint column has a name which indicates the column in the database at joint column. So now this will be the equivalent of specifying the name here. Name is equal to a column here. Column is equal to next message ID. So once I do this, so that's all of the annotations we need. So we have an ID annotation, we have generated value, column, many to 1, join column. Right? Once we do this, you don't need the HBM XML. And in cfg.xml, this becomes class is equal to hello.message. And how to modify this? This will take in the hibernate.cfg.xml. So this one will have a new standard service registry builder. So it's a kind of a complicated code. So new standard service register builder apply settings, right, dot apply settings of properties, that is configuration dot get properties. That's it. So okay. Dot get. Okay, so have Now, now you have got rid of the mapping metadata class, right? So let's remove the db. It's done. Let's run the program again. This time we have annotation. Unknown entity. So you also have to define the entity, which is the first step we will do. So message, this will be at entity, at table is equal to, we will run the program. Let's say so it is inserted and it is also selected uh, the only record that is in the table. So if you run this again, select messages, you see that you get one messages. So that's it. Thank you guys.